Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I think we're going to begin, and just about on time. It's nice to see such a great attendance at 9 o'clock this morning. This session, I think I had a funny title in the program, but really it's EMA, FDA, mostly CDER question time. We are trying a new format. You can see we have sofas. And what the delay was is that we have each one of our panelists has their own microphone. So our goal is to have this session mostly be related to your questions, but if you just bear with us, we're going to let each of them speak as we go forward. So my name is Sandra Queter. I am the Deputy Director of the Office of New Drugs in CDER, the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. I am fresh back from spending 4 months as the FDA EMA liaison in the EMA offices in London. So I'm really delighted to be here with my colleague. Sabina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Sabine Haubenreißer. I am the EMA liaison official to the FDA, and I had been seconded to the FDA 3 years ago, and I'm facilitating the exchange of regulators and experts on both sides of the pond.
Okay, so what do we do next? We're going to introduce our speakers. Yep. We have divided this into, we've invited panelists who have areas of expertise within their own work environment. But as you probably know, many individuals in regulatory agencies have expertise that cuts across a broad swath of areas. So we may find, as we get to the question and answer, that there's more than one panelist from a particular agency that wants to respond to a particular question, and that's okay too. But I'm going to ask the FDA panelists to introduce themselves, say a little bit about where you work in the agency, and maybe a little bit of something about yourself and how you came to that. Just briefly, Teresa, do you want to start, please?
I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can they?
Go.
So I'm Teresa Mullen. I direct the Office of Strategic Programs in the Center for Drugs, and I am also leading the CDER's Patient-Focused Drug Development Initiative that's been going on since the reauthorization of PDUFA in 2012.
Great. Thank you, Teresa. And Gerald?
Good morning. I'm Gerald Alpin. I'm the Director of the Office of Surveillance and Epidemiology in CDER. We have 4 core functions: pharmacovigilance, which is the monitoring of adverse event reports for all marketed human drugs and therapeutic biologics; pharmacoepidemiology, looking at those things in a population base; medication error prevention and analysis, which looks at proposed proprietary names, carton container labeling, human factors for devices, and other things that could make a product error prone; and then risk management, which is largely the REMS program that I'm sure you're familiar with.
And over on this side, we have Dr. Temple.
Okay, I'm Bob Temple. I'm Deputy Center Director for Clinical Science, and I'm also Deputy Director of ODE-1, the part of FDA that looks at cardiovascular, neurologic, and psychiatric drugs. So I get a mixture of high-level stuff and down-to-earth stuff. I have a long-standing interest in clinical trials. I participated heavily in ICH for its first 20 years, along with EMA. As everybody knows, a lot of attention was given to trial designs, how to present data, and how to analyze various things. So those are my interests.
And Dr. Moore.
Good morning. I'm Christine Moore. I'm currently the Acting Director for the Office of Process and Facilities in the newly created Office of Pharmaceutical Quality, or OPQ. My office of Process and Facilities, oversees several different aspects of application review. We include process review.
We'll get the sound right.
All of the process and facilities, which I'm currently Acting Director for, oversees many aspects of application application review. We include process review for all small molecule products, new applications of NDAs and ANDAs. We include all microbiology review and oversight of pre-approval inspections. From those of you who remember me from previous panels last year, before the reorganization, I was the acting director of the Office of New Drug Quality Assessment. And in that role, I have had a major part in terms of working with the EMA through the EMA FDA pilot for QBD.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I would like my EMA colleagues to introduce themselves, starting with Emer Cook.
Oh, good morning. I'm Emer Cook. I'm Head of International Affairs at the European Medicines Agency. And being Head of International Affairs means that I'm responsible for our activities with countries outside the EU. It doesn't cover our relations with countries within the EU. So within the EU, we're family. Outside the EU, we're relations. I've been in this position since 2009. Before that, I was head of inspections at EMA, and I've had various other roles within the European Commission and industry before that. As Bob said, I've been involved in ICH since the very, very early days. I think I am in the unique position of having been ICH coordinator for two different organizations, ICH steering committee member for one organization. I've been a topic lead, and now I'm a sort of a floater on the steering committee, but I'm very, very passionate about ICH activities.
Thank you. And then over to the other side, Enrica Alteri.
Good morning, my name is Enrica Alteri, and I think you appreciate a sprinkle of foreign accent besides our English colleagues who will speak after me. I'm a medical doctor, and I've been at the EMA since 2012. I head the Human Medicines Evaluation Division, which, as the name says, supports and coordinates all the work of the EMA in terms of evaluating medicines. Before joining the EMA, I was for a very long time, more than 20 years, in industry, having various roles from basic research to pharmacovigilance and risk management. And it's my privilege and my pleasure to be here sitting in this panel today.
Thank you. And my colleague Peter Artelt.
Good morning, everyone. A pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I head up the pharmacovigilance function at the European Medicines Agency, which is fundamentally about leading and coordinating both the agency's pharmacovigilance function, but also the systems for pharmacovigilance across the European Union with the different member states. Pharmacovigilance being fundamentally rooted in local activity in the different countries. My background is also as a medical doctor, spent 7 years at the UK agency, where I had the privilege of representing the UK on the committee that licenses new medicines in Europe, the Committee on Human Medicinal Products. Then 5 years at the European Commission, including responsibilities for international relations and the FDA relationship. So it's interesting now to be sitting on the couch following on that theme. I was also involved in the ICH steering committee for 5 years. So now running operational pharmacovigilance and looking forward to the discussion.